try!
Well, some suggestion that, the All Blacks, they've played some brilliant football this year, but they've also had moments of vulnerability. Do you see an Australian win as a possibility? Or?
Look, there's no doubt it's a possibility. Whenever Australia plays New Zealand, there's a possibility. One of our speakers, my old teammate Anthony Herbert, just sort of, I think, summed it up pretty well. Just in a Q&A talking about community rugby, he said, look, there's no doubt we can win by 5, but they could win by 30. And I think that's about right. If the All Blacks play really well and we're not able to put them off their game, which is the key to beating the All Blacks, then they could, they're a great team, they're a wonderful team, and we all acknowledge that. But this is an improving Australian team. My reservation is, do they have the belief and the confidence? And I hear good things coming out of the camp, but unless you're in the camp, you don't really know it. Until you can eyeball someone and you can see that they actually believe in that, then you just don't know. Because when you've played a few tests against the All Blacks, you have to have a belief and a confidence. And sometimes it is that really critical match. For me, it was Wellington 1990, when you get over the line, when you've had a lean period against this great team. And you get over the line, and then all of a sudden you form this confidence that you can beat these guys. And going then after that victory in Wellington through the early 90s and last couple of years of my time in the team, we knew we could beat them on any day. And that confidence and the belief is a critical thing.
Have you seen enough in their on-field performances post-Dunedin to suggest that they have got what it takes to win?
I really haven't seen a lot of their football, so I can't comment on that. I mean, I'm sort of going through a little period where cut the umbilical cord, move on. Doesn't mean I don't care passionately about Australian rugby and what have you, but I'm not getting up at 1 a.m. to watch it, and I've got a busy life. But there's no doubt I read it. They're continuing to improve. I think, again, you can only think back to your day. Our success in '91 was driven by 2 years of putting together the jigsaw puzzle, which is the team that can win big matches. And I think Cheika's doing a good job at putting together that jigsaw puzzle and giving these guys game experience, and hopefully that will manifest in 2019. But at the same time, you've got to start to win some of these big matches and get that confidence I spoke about, a year or two in advance.
You talk about confidence, Nick, but what else is it on the field? What are those little...
Oh, Mike, I think, you can talk about winning every moment and those things that are critical and turnovers and all that sort of thing and not making simple errors and what have you. Confidence, you can couple that with, I think, mental toughness. And mental toughness is a lot of things, but it's winning in those critical stages, when you're defending a 5-metre scrum, you're just in front with a couple of minutes to go. And you know that you have whatever it takes to defend your line. From a distance, I'm not in the inner sanctum. I haven't been in the inner sanctum for a hell of a long time, but I just don't know if the guys have got that mental toughness that you've seen in past teams and what have you, that it is that thing of whatever it takes. It was a bit of a catch cry of our team that day in Wellington in 1990, whatever it damn well takes. I recall our defence in the semi-final against the All Blacks in Dublin. They didn't score a try against us, whatever it takes. And it's that mental toughness that I'm just not sure that the guys have at the moment.
Well, you were one of the last coaches to taste Bledisloe victory, for the Wallabies. The way the All Blacks are going, could they go another 15 years with their dominance at the moment? Or?
I hope not. Look, they're a great team, and it's not a coincidence. They're a great team. They've worked very hard at it. They haven't made a big song and dance about it, but it's quite obvious that they've been doing a lot of work for quite a while to develop the sort of team and the team that they've got, and the ability for players to come in out of that team and play the same sort of way. You only have to look at the provincial sides to see that they're doing similar sort of things, and they've been very smart over the time. I think we've got to acknowledge that. So from our point of view, we've got to work on our own brand of rugby. What we see as being the way forward for the future, and I think we're seeing some good things happening to the side. I think the last few games that they've played, we're now starting to see a bit of shape, and they're playing a much better brand of rugby. Obviously, I think we've been a bit concerned early on, but now we're starting to see a team that I think is capable of really putting it to the All Blacks, and I do think we have a good chance, particularly with some of their top playmakers out. And it's always hard to how do I say it? It's difficult to predict that we're going to win because they've got the uncanny ability to bring in some other players that are going to do well too. But without Barrett and Retallick particularly, I think they're the two main. They've been the two best players for them for quite a while, and I think it does give us a good opportunity.
Rod, you had great players in your team, and the All Blacks have got some great players now. Do you see those great players coming through for the Wallabies?
I think it is good to see that we're getting a bit of stability in what we're doing. I do see some good players. I think it's nice to see Kurtley Beale playing a good role and being a bit more consistent with our selections, and I think that's paying off on the field. And we do have we've got some good young players coming through. I would hope that we're in a situation, if we start to get some good wins in and play good rugby, we can keep the same sort of, we can keep that group together and have the ability, of course, to bring some players that know the way we're playing the game, so when they come in, don't have to change too much.
Do you agree with Nick in some of the mindset issues, perhaps, that maybe plagued the Wallabies in recent years coming up against the ABs?
Look, it's difficult for me because I'm obviously not there day to day. I think some of the decisions we've been making on the field indicates that we've got to be a bit more positive in the way we go about that, and I think that's looking better all the time. I can't, I think it'd be wrong of me to say I don't know whether their confidence is there or not. I'm hearing a team, the comments they're making at the moment, I think are good. A lot of respect for the All Blacks, which is really important. And I think that respect's is very important. The more respect we can have for the other teams, and particularly the best team in the world, I think the greater chance we have of making sure that we know how good we've got to be to beat them.
In those successful sides that you coach, was that one of the keys to getting consistent results against the All Blacks, just that confidence that you are good enough, if not better than them?
No, I'll repeat, it's the respect of the opposition that's always important, whether it's business or particularly sport. We had great respect for the All Blacks, and because of that we knew how good we had to be to beat them, and we knew that they were always going to come back, and I think everyone knows that now, and I see plenty of respect coming from the Wallaby camp, and I think that's very good.
Just lastly, the big cherry, obviously, that everyone works towards is the World Cup. We're sort of halfway between that cycle. Tomorrow would be a good start, but do you think Wallabies have got what it takes?
Yeah, I think it's good to see the stability in the side. That's what I'm seeing. The more they can get of that and understanding their playing style, the greater chance we've got this far out to make sure we've got a really well prepared team for the World Cup.
Because he was doing a lot of chopping and changing, wasn't he? But now, certainly the last 2 or 3 tests, you're starting to see the same names popping up.
And I think that to me is a really good sign, and hopefully it all goes well for putting on a good performance.